I think people want that like real story of like this time you ran into I don't know, fucking Kirk Hammett at catering or something. I don't know what they're looking for, but
right, yeah.
some sort of super famous person that you just haven't met.
Rub shoulders with.
Well, yeah,
right.
What people's I don't want to ruin people's idea of what touring is, so you can't tell them anything real.
Right.
No, of course. Yeah, they have
like you can't be like, oh, you mean like picking peanut shells out of your hair because you slept on the floor of your van on a rolled up hoodie.
It's like I've been peeing in a Gatorade bottle for 3 days. Is that what you want to hear? I'm just accumulating a full liter. I'm just trying to get the whole thing. I think
we're all learning how to only pee when you get gas.
Yeah, and I also had someone ask me at one point. They were like, "Hey, you go to LA often. Do you ever run into anybody like Tom Hanks?" like who's running into Tom Hanks because they just happen to be in LA?
All the time.
That's not a thing.
Good old Tom. Good old Tom.
He probably doesn't. He
Northeast or something. Probably like Maine or something.
Yeah, or let's be honest, he's probably working. He's probably working. He's probably working somewhere remotely and filming something.
Like France.
Hey, man, you never know when Tom Hanks is going to show up at your local hardcore show.
You never know. You never know.
He's always at the 7-Eleven.
or if you're stopping at In-N-Out and he just happens to be there.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Animal style Hanks, that's what we call him.
Yeah. I dig that.
That's what we call him in the streets.
I hope it sticks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my... Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my...
Timeout time.
How those balls looking?
You know what season is, right?
I do indeed. It is time.
It is time for smooth sack summer. And how do I keep everything smooth, everything tidy, everything the way it should be?
Well, I don't know how you do, but I'll tell you how I do. Manscaped, buddy. You know it. You've been listening. You've been seeing the show. We've been talking about it. You know how much we love the crop mops. You know how much we love the lawnmower, but they have the Performance Package 4.0 now.
Where they did a little upgrade to the Weed Whacker. Weed Whacker is, of course, the nose and ear hair trimmer. It is now the 2.0, as opposed to the 1.0. Now,
right. That's one better.
I used the 1.0. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then they sent the 2.0, and I said, how could it be better? It is. It just is. I don't know how they do it, but Manscaped keeps upping their game. And
I've been digging the lawnmower for a long time. Right. I like the skin safe technology. I still use the guard. But no. I have not once nicked a thread on the beanbag.
Yes.
Not once.
Yep.
Now you don't want to lose any beans.
No.
Everyone.
No, you don't.
You don't want to lose beans, and with other methods, oh man, you could lose a bean.
Yeah.
But not with Manscaped.
Exactly. And also, they are getting into the beard game. They've got their brand new beard trimmer, which is fantastic. So go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code BACONPOD, and that will give you 20% off and free shipping.
That's right. So don't forget to work on those testicles, your chesticles, and your cheeks. Keep them clean and ask yourself, what's your bacon? Smooth Sack Summer.
What do you guys play? Mike, what do you play?
I play guitar and I sing.
Okay.
But like I have,
how
drums, bass.
I literally can't do both. I no matter how hard I try. Not that I really practice. I feel like you either got that or you don't.
It's doing two things at the same time. Like I have to. My mind has to. Like when I'm at home, I'm doing something, but also doing something else.
Right on.
I very rarely am like, okay, I'm gonna just do this now today. Like I gotten a lot better about it. I'm trying, but it's always like
you've gone from 6 things at once down to like 4 things at once.
Right, exactly. So
I also sing and play guitar. So the same thing, and it came from too many singers bailing on.
Oh yeah, just got sick of it.
Just
Yeah.
out of necessity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was always a guitar player first.
Me too.
Sing with him.
Yeah.
And then eventually somebody was like, "Hey, we need somebody to fill in for singing. Can you help?" And I was like, "I don't. But what?"
Right.
They were like, "Well, you do background vocals, so might as well." And I was like, "All right, well, I'll try it." And then they haven't shut me up since. So
That's okay. That's a good thing. I started as a bass player, so I had guitar players quit on me. So I'm like, well, guess I'm playing guitar now. And I stick to rhythm stuff. I don't get wacky. I don't do anything outside the norm.
We're rhythm guys too.
that's
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah. It's safer. It's a safer place to be.
I like to call it. I'm a songwriter.
Ah,
There you go.
I like that. No, that's not. I never thought of it that way.
Lead guitar? No, I'm a songwriter, man.
I'm a songwriter.
I'm a songwriter.
No solos? No solos.
I don't need to. You know, I'll
Yeah.
get somebody to do that.
Solos. We do like the bluesy solos. You know.
Right. You know.
I appreciate that.
I can rock a pentatonic.
Yeah.
I leave tradition to the traditionalists. I kind of do what I do. That's really it.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
That's the way to do it, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, here we are. We're here with Chris Towning from Suffocate Faster. Dude, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You caught us all mid-conversation because we have good conversations.
That's what we do
how
here.
it goes.
That's what we do here. You are the original forming member of
Oh, yeah.
Suffocate Faster. And like
Scary to say, isn't it?
right? But you guys haven't released anything in 15 years, and now here you are, 2023, popping two songs out.
Some greatness out, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now I know that you guys started getting back together just like pre-COVID. So what I wanted to ask was, I'm sure back in like 2006 or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys were. It was a bunch of dudes getting into a room, banging on their instruments and writing songs.
Right.
But you guys got back together. COVID hit shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have stuff written going into COVID and then go, okay, well, we're going to have to stop for a second? Or did you guys work through COVID and like at that point where it was like, okay, well, we can't really see each other? Were you guys doing the remote thing? And
So, I guess the best way to describe it, like, as you know, like writing songs when we were younger, you had to get in the room, you had to do this, right? Recording just seemed like this expensive,
unattainable
unattainable thing. And obviously,
these songs now, and we'll record them in 4 years.
exactly, yeah. Like, or we'll write a whole album or whatever, and that's just not the way the music industry works anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have content, new content, constantly, just constantly, keep it coming. So, to me, it made more sense to approach it that way. Via COVID, and I don't like to be the guy either, but like a lot of, I don't know if you've experienced with this other bands or bands you've been in before this group with you guys, but there's like the one guy who's like does everything and you can't change anything he does and he's in charge and blah blah blah. I've been in those scenarios, and I don't feel like I'm that guy in this band, but it kind of just has fallen in my lap over time, with member changes and then obviously COVID being a thing. We did definitely, I don't know if this happens to you too. You write a riff, right? You've got an idea or a couple ideas. They flow well together, and you just sit on them, and they just never get used. For me, they just never leave my brain. So like every time I go to write a song, I've got that idea there. So until I get them out, they're just always there. So
Definitely have that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's my
So
issue too.
yeah. So some of these ideas were literally just a matter of like, oh, I've had this in here for a while. I'm regurgitating it again. I change the tuning, or I change this, or I change maybe the drum beat that goes with this riff this time around, and it just has a different feel to it. Like when I first wrote the Faster song the Faster riff that's in Strength, I had like the Sepultura idea. That's really where it came from, and then it kind of blended with like a more hardcore Terror idea. So now it's like those two together, but it's something I had. It was originally a Sepultura idea, more twangy, like groove metal Sepultura era, but that kind of feel to it. So it just took a long time to really get it the way I wanted to, and I also recorded it and changed it, and then changed it, and then changed it, and then took it to the guys, and we played through it, and we're like, oh, this feels great, but this part just could be better, and mess with it. Chris put the vocals on it, and then I still stepped back and went, oh, we have a chorus now. So I literally like dropped half of the end of the song, doubled apart, made it the chorus, and then it just stuck, and that was it. Like it's and then that's what's cool about the way where things are getting done now. It's not just like you go into the studio, it's done, or it's semi-produced, the producer works on it, and then it gets fixed, and then you have a final product.
Right.
It was nice to be able to just go back and forth and like really nitpick how it was going to go. And then I've seen the reflection of that from the live perspective too, because if you played it live together versus it just being a computer song, it just has a better feel if you played it together with the guys and then you go back and then you make it a computer song again. So yeah. I don't know if any of that really fully makes sense or answered your question properly.
It does. Yeah.
It's actually literally what we're doing.
Right.
So like 7 years ago, was it 7 or was it something like that? 6, maybe 5, 6 years, something like that. Before COVID, because like computer songs is kind of the way that I was doing things for a long time.
Right.
Writing them, then bringing them to people, and then redoing them. And
I'm very much the other way of like, let's all get in a room and sweat and kill each other until it's...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, let's try and I'll show you this way. And we wrote a crap load of songs, probably like close to 20 songs. Mm-hmm. And then because we're in 2 separate bands, just things get nutty,
Yeah, of course.
So, COVID hit, and we started this
things
and everything.
Got nuttier.
And then
things got nuttier. Exactly.
We decided to work together again, but we decided to past like 3 months. We decided to actually do like all of the production and pre-production, and we have a producer come on. So we take those songs. He's like, okay, well, change this, make this change, whatever. We do it all live on Twitch. So
yeah,
totally know what you're.
Which is either a cool idea
about.
or the dumbest idea.
It's great. I think it's great because it starts crossing that barrier we were talking about, like with watching Back to the Future and being like, that's not how that works. What are they doing?
Right.
So at least it gives some normies the looking glass to see like, oh, so this is actually how artists work together and figure these things out.
This is the most boring thing I've ever watched. Yeah.
Right. Well,
how many times are they going to loop that?
Exactly. How many times are you going to play that? You're going to keep playing that part?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. It depends on how the vocals sit. So you're like, this will either get shorter or longer depending on how much vocals go here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Time out. We've got all these awesome sponsors here.
Right.
Where can they find all the information out for that?
Oh, if only there was a place. If there was only
a portal,
a hub,
a central hub to do so.
A central location.
Wait, I think there is.
Do we have the technology?
Yes. Baconismypodcast.com is where you can find the best deals on all of our awesome sponsors, including Drink Wild Bills, Pod Decks, Manscaped, all of them. Go over there, find their promo codes. You always get the best deals. But what else can you get over there?
Well, not only can you get the best deals, and we'll always keep those up to date, you can also help out the show by grabbing some t-shirts, some swag. Jump over to the Bacon is My Fashion section. Yeah, there's a whole section. It's just there for you. It's there for you. You can check it out. We have nice t-shirts. They don't chafe. They're nice to the nips. I like that.
Jimmy's all about his nice to the nips.
I'm like the
shirts.
Drax of this show.
Exactly.
I got sensitive nipples, man. I got sensitive nipples. If you have sensitive nipples, check that out. And you know what? How about your ear holes? You want to take care of those ear holes? Because you can find links to all of our episodes. How about your eyeballs? You want those eyeballs? You can find links to our YouTube, Strangerhood TV. You can check out everything right from baconismypodcast.com. It's easy. It's super simple. It's right there. What's your bacon?
I will say that when you go to this site, that will be your new bacon.
That will be your new bacon. Check it out.
So do you guys have your second EP coming out later this year?
Yep.
How long was all this material ready to go?
real man, it took so long. So like, at this, so rewind pre-COVID, right? So this band's obviously not a very full-time band. We're not a full-time touring band like we used to be in the early 2000s. Since I left the band, I went and did a bunch of other touring, and then I came back to this because Chris, the singer, invited me to come back and play a show. And then we had a really good time rehearsing. We had a really good time being back in the room with the guys. So that's what turned into new music. I started working on some of these riffs pre-COVID. Of the two that have been released, the other two were, more or less written in the last year-ish. Because I was working, living in Detroit. Everybody's down here in Cincinnati. I would go over to my buddy's house. We'd work on some songs. He's the engineer who recorded everything. Max was great. I really appreciate it. Max Klein, shout out. Woo, woo. I'd put an idea down. I'd go down and see the boys. We'd work on it a little bit, come back, change that idea. Then we lost a drummer. New drummer comes in, working on this. It took some time. It shouldn't take that long to do 2 songs, but because of the method I used for the first 2, of the constantly nitpicking, going back and forth, not feeling rushed, it just made it a little easier. And then even the second, let's just say the 4th song, that one I had one riff, and I came in because I wanted to just put that down and have it. I found the BPM, I recorded it, and then the other 2 riffs from the song just kind of came out of me just sitting there, just kind of hit me. I was like, oh, actually, you know what? Let's do this for the intro, and we're gonna go straight into that song, or straight into that riff, and that's just, it kind of like wrote itself pretty quickly. So you know how that goes. Sometimes a song like is just like, oh, this is it. This is the parts.
Right.
It sounds great. And then sometimes you're like, you put it down, you listen to it that day, you're like, yo, this sucks. And then you listen to it the next day, it's like, okay, it didn't suck as bad as I thought it did. Right. And then you can look at it some more and nitpick it some more. So, obviously it's just so weird writing songs anymore. I think the biggest thing for me with this music, before, when I was younger, I was trying to emulate something. I was trying to do whatever was cool right now, or do what the cool bands are doing, and then so that way I can be successful. And then this time around, just approaching all these songs, it's just like, I'm gonna write whatever the hell I want to write. Like this, right? Yeah. If I write it, it is Suffocate Faster, because I'm writing it for Suffocate Faster. This is whatever comes out of me is what I want it to be. So.
The other thing you run into is when you emulate something that somebody's doing, is it's like you're chasing it. Like I still do it. It's like you're chasing it, but it's happened already. But if you're doing your own thing,
whatever is out right now is 2 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're in there doing your own thing, and you're like nitpicking your own stuff, trying to create what the hell you want to write, then it's a whole ball of wax at that point.
I agree with that. And I think the hardest thing is hearing your own thing is always going to sound the way you hear it. Like it's all, no matter what, no matter if it's the coolest riff you've ever written, you're still going to be hard on yourself about what you've written. You're like, man, it could be better than that. Right. But you just have to like come to grips with the fact that you're like, no, stuff I write is always going to sound like me. I'm always going to nitpick it. And that's just what it has to be. And like, it's just like, I'm sure you guys hear your own voice and you're like, oh my God, is that what I sound like? Every time. Exactly. Every time. It's like, did I really screw up that note that bad? Like, does that sound okay? Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things where that's, I think, what's part of the aging process, and like getting used to just writing songs. But like, no, what I write's going to sound like what I write, and that's it. And if somebody wants it to be something different, then tough shit, because this is what I produce. So this is what I got.
That actually leads me into a question I had for you that was about kind of the lyric writing process for what you guys do, right? So you're a hardcore band, which a lot of people like. That genre is what? That genre is this. That genre is that. To me, hardcore is not really a style as much as it's like the mission statement. It's
no, absolutely, yeah, I agree with that.
So, speaking truth to power, social economic issues, things like that, like some kind of vision that's kind of pointing in a direction. To at least to me, that's kind of how.
Right. No, I absolutely agree with that. Chris writes all the lyrics. I leave that to him. He's been singers in bands for half my lifetime. You know, he's been doing this for a long time, and he always speaks from personal experience. A lot of the stuff he covers is mental health, because he has anxiety like a lot of us do. He's probably one of the first people I ever met who like actually experienced panic attacks and dealing with that. And we also obviously talk about the Lost Ones, about basically the justice system and how people who do get incarcerated, when they do actually get to return to real life, they're almost pushed back into doing the same thing they were doing before because the world just doesn't accept them. That's not something he's experienced personally, but you know, we all know people who have, in one way or another, been you know, pigeonholed into that kind of situation. And then obviously straight edge too. We've all been straight edge a long time, and it's subconscious at this point. But just a little bit background here to the hardcore thing. I feel like what makes something hardcore is the people who are in the band, right? So if you have hardcore people in the band, like someone with the hardcore mindset comes from the hardcore scene, whether they're pro-life, straight edge, insert ABC here, whatever, right, punk rock, I feel like that's what makes it a hardcore band, even if they're playing metalcore or they're playing straight thrash or they're playing traditional punk. If they're hardcore dudes in the band, then it's a hardcore band. That's you're right, definitely on the whole style thing, because hardcore is really all encompassing, but it really comes about, like you said, mission statement and what beliefs or ideals, you know, that group stands for, usually against the norm, right? You know, it's usually a counterculture, and that's what it's always been. So I feel like, yeah, as long as the kids that are doing it are from the, you know, from that counterculture and of that mindset, I feel like you've got a hardcore band.
I would definitely agree. I wonder, and since he's the primary lyric writer, you probably have a better answer, or at least a quicker answer. But you might, like when you guys are writing. So for me, when I'm writing a song, it's always just a personal experience, and so sometimes even the feel or the story or whatever is happening in the song can be very small in one person, and I'm not ever pointing that at anything other than really myself.
Sure.
I'm wondering what that's like in the terms of if you're writing something with the idea of putting a message out about something that you believe in, that is a more all-encompassing a social thing or an economic thing, or you know, whether it be a message about straight edge or racism or whatever core belief is a much bigger thing. If that is something that is it ever thought about, how is this going to be absorbed by the listener, and what's the best way to communicate our message or point? Or is it more of like a this is how we feel and this is how we want to say something, and the people that are going to get it are going to get it? Right.
I feel like too, even, you know, obviously I'm not a lyrical guy. I've never been a lyrical guy. It's not something I'm good at. I said before to you guys, like, I don't know how you sing and play guitar at the same time. I just can't do it. And then you've got a message or lyrics and things you have to put to the singing. Right. Like I would just screw it up completely. I would have just the melody of the guitar would be the exact same melody I'm singing vocally, because I couldn't. Right. I'm like, okay, we're ascending. Okay, cool. I'm in this note now. You know, I would just completely screw that up. So bravo to you guys for being able to do that. But I think realistically, like, even if a message is specific, whether it's specifically straight edge or specifically anti-racism, I still think that there is room for interpretation. So like maybe your life experience, the way you're describing it, may somehow tie into someone else's life experience, and then they're experiencing that song through their eyes, right?
The idea, right? You know?
So yeah, so I feel like even with the specific stuff, because you guys may hear a straight edge song and maybe the way it's talking about beliefs or strength or whatever it's referring to may trigger something in your head that's like a completely different experience, or maybe even like might even just inspire you to finish that project on your bathroom you were even giving up on. Maybe it's like the right push in the right direction. So I feel like lyrically, it's always got intent, but like all music, it is open for interpretation to the listener. Because a certain listener may only hear the guitar riffs, or a certain listener may be like, "Oh, the drums are sick on that," and then like they never even hear the lyrics or notice the lyrics. And that's what it is. Like for me, like the Black Dahlia Murder is literally all I hear is guitar riffs. I love the drums in there, but I have no idea what Trevor, rest in peace. I still have no idea what he was ever singing about or whatever. So open to interpretation. Every listener is kind of different. So that's just kind of how I feel about lyrics.
I think it's important that's said and that's out, because we've talked before about tribalism in music, and you get into situations where there are people that won't listen to something or think it's not for them if it's got
Outside
any
the
kind
genre.
of thing that's either out of their genre or is like, oh, I don't have that thought process, or I don't have that issue, or I don't have that thing, and they're talking about something specific, so I don't it's not for me. And I think it's important to be like, no, man, like that's like what you said, like strength can be a lot of things to the listener, and can inspire in many different ways. And one person's story about overcoming a very certain thing can inspire many people that have no idea about that thing to get through their own things.
Correct. So. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what you hope, I mean, like, I always tell people I started playing music, this type of music, because I wanted people to be able to have a place to get out or feel a certain way, the same way I found hardcore, and I had a place to go and be like, this is awesome. This makes me feel great. I forget about the house, whatever's bothering me in the world, and I have a great time here. And that's what I wanted to give other people. So if it is inspiration, hopefully, to get through that thing, or even just understanding like, oh, other people are dealing with these same problems I'm dealing with, or whatever it might be, I feel like that's the whole point of this music and this language that we use to communicate with others. And I mean, I think that's huge. Yeah. And another thing too, like, in all fairness too, all jokes aside, if you don't want to hear the straight edge song, just skip the straight edge song.
Exactly.
skip to the next one.
I agree, but don't skip it, because
don't skip it. Yeah. Like I said, jokingly, just skip it. Just don't.
But you can always don't listen.
Yeah, just don't listen. No, I mean, in all fairness, there's plenty of Christian bands that I grew up listening to, just because like Zayo being an old metalcore band that I grew up listening to. I know there's I know there's Christian lyrics in there. I know they're talking about something I don't necessarily agree with, but it's their right to talk about it. It's and if I don't like it or I do like it, that's fine. It is what it is.
A good example, because I remember growing up, a friend showing me bands that were Christian bands and not wanting to tell me that they were Christian bands because he thought I wouldn't want to listen to them then. And I was like, you know what? If you had told me, you might be right. I might have had that idea, But
right. No, of course.
Now that I'm hearing it, like, they're a great band.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Very good, So yeah, I think that it's a great example. What's up, guys? We got a little hint for you here, a little secret. How do you help the show? We've been asked. Here's a way to help the show. Check us out over at patreon.com/baconismypod. You can get lots of extra stuff.
Yeah, like additional shows, ad-free episodes, early episodes. Shoot. Every Sunday, we record our discussions and drinks live with our patrons.
Yeah, so you can have a drink with us while we do it. You can watch us cook things. You can watch us eat things. You can just support the show. And that helps us keep putting these out. It helps us just
keep the show free.
So thank you guys so much for supporting, all of you over on Patreon already. Our patrons, you guys are our lifeblood. Thank you guys so much. And if you want to help out the show and you want to jump on, and you want to be part of that BIMP squad, jump over to patreon.com/baconismypod.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I do want to kind of steer the course differently here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Because
Let's jump. Let's move.
Because in What's Your Bacon in 7 Questions, you brought up your love for collecting some Transformers things and stuff.
I have those.
And there happens to be like a pretty sweet article out there about you and your collection and stuff like that.
Oh, you found it. Hey.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, Google's a fun little tool.
Isn't it?
Nice.
Google
It's
Monster. Yeah,
wonderful.
it's great.
But yeah, man, like what got you into collecting the because you specifically do like first generation, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, more than anything, so I'm an '83 baby. Transformers started in '84. So technically, by all rules of the universe here, by the time I was of age for Transformers, which is like 5 and up, right?
Yeah.
Right.
By the time I would have been that age, so you're talking about 1988, that's like the end of Transformers.
Right.
Luckily, like I think 88, 89 is when Transformers really fell off here. Like they were huge 84, 85, 86, and then the movie hit, and I think it scared a lot of people off because there's just like a marketing thing that killed all the important characters off to introduce new characters. So it like just turned a lot of people off. I didn't think they saw it coming that way, but anyway, I was lucky to have a cousin that was 4 years older than me, and I got his hand-me-downs at a young age. So I got introduced to some of the G1 stuff. I think the real reason I gravitate to it is because I missed most of it. I didn't get to see it when it was on TV. I didn't catch it until maybe later in syndication. I only really had a couple video cassettes that we had copied from the local video store.
Yeah.
So I had like a couple episodes. And around 2002, they started reissuing the original ones. So all the stuff that I missed as a kid and never really saw because my friends my age didn't have them because they all missed them.
Mm-hmm.
And they started coming out in 2002. And then all those reissues came out, and I started buying those up because there's stuff I never had as a kid. And then there was different Japanese reissues, so different boxes, some different characters, some more artwork and stuff like that. Also around the same time period, a comic book company called Dreamwave started putting out comic books in homage to G1. So newer art, better looking, great art. And that's really like just sparked my fire just to get into the old stuff. And you start to find where, like, what interests you like a lot of this stuff. And I'm sure you guys know in collecting, you pre-order something, you get it in hand, it finally shows up and you're looking at it and you go, I don't need this. Like it's like, I thought I wanted this. I got it in hand. I was so excited about it. And you're like, no, this is not for me. So
Right.
I kind of spent the time going through that process. I've bought and sold so many things so many times, just finding the right thing for me, just like to get excited about. And I'm constantly, like, I won't say it chasing the dragon. As humans, we're just adaptive creatures. So, boxes come in. It's like the Amazon theory. Like, boxes keep coming in, and it takes that many more boxes to feel good again, to fill that hole. I've just spent more time. My collection is more based on 2 characters because I know those characters bring me joy. So I know no matter what international variant or repaint or whatever I get of that toy, it's going to bring me joy. Even if I have multiples of the exact same one, it still gives me joy because they're for Optimus Prime. Obviously, we all know, like, he's the main. He's like the guy that everybody he's the guy that everybody gravitated towards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an easy buy for me because I'm like, okay, nostalgia. I loved trucks growing up. My dad was in trucking my whole life. So just I had truck toys growing up. So like,
Nice, yeah.
it's that it just kind of speaks to that. And then I'm really into Devastator and all the characters that form Devastator. mainly
Nice,
because
cool.
combiners are cool. I love the idea of putting a bunch of toys together to make a big one. Same thing with Voltron, or
Voltron was
all the like the building size stuff was just like super cool to me.
Yeah.
And then I also grew up just enjoying Tonka trucks and construction vehicles. So it was one of those things where like that was natural for me to like those groups of characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more you dig into collecting and stuff, you realize, oh, they produced these in France. These got produced in Mexico. These got produced in Japan for all these markets. But boxes are different, and plastics are different, and colors are different. And I just got into that rabbit hole of just collecting all the different Optimus Prime variants, to the boxes, to the, all these things, right? And like I said, every time I get one, it's still that same joy, because it's like, oh, it's like, so now I have, like, I just keep getting more of these. And that even fell into Skeletor in the last year. One of my buddies, and he's like the ultimate bad guy, right? Like he's like, he is the 80s bad guy. Of course, the cartoon makes him sound kind of weird, but the toys are just so different than the cartoon, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And it's I fell into the same trap. Like they're made all over the planet, like South America, India, Taiwan, Hong Kong. There's like, I've got like 26 or 27 different Skeletor variants.
Oh, cool.
And they're all like a little bit colored.
That many. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, there's more than that. There's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
There's guys like my buddy who turned me on to it. We got together via Transformers. I turned him on to Optimus Prime variants. He turned me on to Skeletor variants. So we're both just like killing each other slowly, killing each other's pocketbooks slowly. So, but no, it's one of those things where variant collecting is what I want to do. I rather not have, the whole line. I don't want one of everything. I just pick one thing I really like, and I gravitate towards it, and I focus on it. Well, because I even said that interview that you're mentioning, if you're not careful, you can get on eBay every day and find 10 things that are Transformer related,
right? And
just buy a bunch of shit. Right. And then what does it actually do other than accumulate on a shelf? You know what I mean? So at least with these, like, I know I like the character. I know other people like the character. And to me, it's also one of those things where, sure, I'm investing this money into it. Luckily it's accruing in value. So if I want to turn around in a month, 2 months, 2 years, I can still sell this stuff and still make my money back. So like, I feel like it is investing. It is a hobby. It is nostalgic. There's so many good things that come with it. It affords me the ability to have these kind of conversations. It affords me the ability to make new friends. I've made friends all over, a lot of the world, just from Facebook groups and talking to people about Transformers. And not that I'm the expert, but people do like ask me about opinions. Like, have you seen this? What is this? Like, what's going on here? So I've been doing it long enough too. That's kind of cool that people know that's what I do. Yeah. And they respect my knowledge and my collection and what I do know. So it's nice to have people come to me and be like, hey, I've got this. What do you think? You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. I enjoy it.
I think it's really cool. Like, we talked about, I feel like the collecting and then like the being in a band and recording and stuff have a lot of parallels. Like we all kind of came up around the same time. So it was like, we were in high school and we're like, okay, well, we're going to spend several $1,000s to try and record, a handful of songs and stuff like that, because things just weren't that accessible. So like you said that you started your collection around then,
right? Yeah.
You couldn't really go down those rabbit holes. It was like the beginnings of eBay and like a lot of like kind of shady shit going on with eBay and
message boards and
message boards and stuff like that. So like, man, how did you navigate then? Like, were you?
Then. So like, obviously I wasn't. So like, my collection has come to more of the very specific collecting. Back then, it was whatever Toys R Us had at the time, because they were releasing the commemorative stuff. And then whatever, there was some local toy shops that had some of the Japanese release box reissues. I think they're called comic book boxes or whatever. But it I don't know. It didn't feel too risky. Like, I guess because the price point wasn't bad. You know, $40 or whatever.
Right, yeah.
You know, I mean, sure, $40 is in that time period when I was in college and I was not really working a whole lot, so it still was a lot. But luckily, I saved a bunch of money in high school and towards college, so I was sitting on some money, so it wasn't a big deal to spend a little bit of money, and especially on something that, like I said, like was a part of my childhood, but didn't get to be a part of my childhood. So I had to like pick it up now. Like, oh hey, it's available now. I can buy this Megatron. I've never been able to buy a Megatron before. This is great. I think eBay's definitely in the favor of the buyer now. That, you know, I'm sure you know that they've produced so many new rules. Like sellers get screwed a lot, and honestly, I really kind of stopped selling on there just because of it. The fees got astronomical. They're not. They're not crazy now. They're not using PayPal
and everything twice.
Oh yeah, and they're not putting since PayPal's not like their direct checkout anymore. And then like, because you would get paid via PayPal and the money was there. Now eBay takes your money, and then they decide when you're actually they're going to release the funds to your checking account. Yeah. It's like it's a kind of become a broken system. But I know some people are so deep in it. That's just where the business is, and that's what they're doing. That's what they got to do. They got to live with it. But yeah, anymore, oh man, it is risky. It is really risky out there. And there's a lot of money out there. I mean, it's easy to spend, you know, as you know, thousands of dollars on things, and just cross your fingers. Like, I really hope it shows up, and it doesn't show up broken. I actually had a customs fiasco. I had a buddy of mine lives in the UK. I'll buy stuff either from the UK or from Europe and have it just shipped to his house. And then what he'll do is he'll put it all together in one box and ship it to me. So he had like a decent amount of things for me. It shipped it over. It came through a customs office, or you know, the UPS brought it to the customs office. It comes through, gets released to UPS, back to UPS, then comes to me. They literally cut the box open, damaged like 4 of my boxes. Like literally, like just like box cutter through, just box cutter through them boxes that I just can't. I don't know if I'll ever replace one of them. And I just had to suck up the fact that I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep this, so I'm just gonna like, and the cut's so deep, you know, like with the tear, you can kind of glue cardboard back together. Right. But with a cut, there's nothing to attach it to. It's just two flat edges. So I literally just put packaging tape on the inside and just laid it together. I'm like, it's mine, so I guess here it is. So I was only out €500 on that one, but it still hurts a lot on that. And then there's a number of other boxes that one of them I literally sent back to my buddy in the UK to repair it, and he put it back together, and it looks fantastic. So it works out, but it's just like, it just hurts your guts, you know, to spend that kind of money on stuff.
And that first time, like, you get something and you're ready to open it, so you've got the dopamine rush and the hype happening.
Yep.
And then
all
you
at
open
once.
up and something's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just like getting kicked right in the beanbag.
Yeah. And one of them was so bad, literally, like, so like you could see that they took 2 fingers, jammed it in the box, then tore the box open. And it's just like, there's nothing like, and that was the worst part. So these are just, these are literally just empty. That's the thing though. So they're just empty boxes. So you could look and see in a window and see that is empty. Like, you don't have to go in there and tear it apart. Your X-ray shows it empty. So like, what are you doing? Like, and it just felt malicious and like intentional. Like somebody's just having a shitty day, and I caught the brunt of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
That is the worst.
Well, on a positive note with collecting, do you have a in your collection, what is your like holy grail that you have, and what is your holy grail that you're still chasing?
The white whale.
The white whale. So I recently became quasi obsessed with the Japanese movie art. So the way it works is, movie came out in 86 here. It came out in 89 there. So like when we lost Transformers kept going in Japan because it did really well in Japan. It just kept going. Mm-hmm. They had more series of shows. You can get all of them on DVD, but they're all with subs. You know what I mean? So they moved it. They didn't kill Optimus Prime. He was still alive down there. So he like kept going, and like, so their storyline's a little different. They kind of did it as like, from what I understand, and I'm not the expert on it, it's kind of just like a side story. Like, oh, hey, this is alternate universe side story. Here's the movie, right?
Right.
The artwork they used for, the cover on the poster, the poster art, the cover on the laser disc, the VHS, all that stuff. It almost looks like it's not even Transformers. It is Transformers. You can identify it as Transformers,
Right.
but it's just not your traditional cartoon. Yeah, see if you can look it up.
Okay, he's trying to find it.
It's just nothing like the cartoon. It's almost like it's clay. It's got this weird. Sadly, I'm not great enough at art to describe it.
Well, it's like, to me, it reminds me of like, I don't know if this is it.
It's like more human. It looks more.
Let's see. All right, I'm gonna see if no, this isn't it.
See if you can like try Japanese Laserdisc.
That's a sweet. You just found a sweet Optimus Prime.
Here, let me just step away for 1 second. Hold on, I'll grab it.
Japanese Transformer Laserdisc. Oh yeah, then this is it. Oh, wait, where is it? Here we go. Let's see if we can pop this.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna see if I got it too. Here.
Yeah, we can see if we can share it on screen here.
Is that what you got?
That's it.
Yep, that's it. So that's the Laserdisc, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's something that's one of my grails that I have.
That's awesome.
It's not crazy. It's just, it's very unique
This is
artwork.
cool looking,
And they all
Different. It's definitely different. Like the characters look a little different. The designs are a little different.
Yeah, exactly. And it was
that little take on the old Star Wars art too. Like
exactly, yeah. It's got that same kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was only used in Japan and only used to promote the movie stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only time that style of art shows up, right? So I've got the Laserdisc, which is there. That's a grail. I've got the movie poster,
Nice.
which is also pretty hard to come by. I know like one other person with that. And like this thing I have here, this is like a promo of some sort. I'm not sure what it came with, but it's just like there's this little fold out promo. I've got I got the
How those balls looking?
You know what season it is, right?
I do indeed. It is time.
It is time for smooth sack summer. And how do I keep everything smooth, everything tidy, everything the way it should be?
Well, I don't know how you do, but I'll tell you how I do. Manscaped, buddy. You know how much we love the crop mops. You know how much we love the lawnmower, but they have the Performance Package 4.0 now.
They did a little upgrade to the Weed Whacker. Weed Whacker is, of course, the nose and ear hair trimmer. It is now the 2.0. And also, they are getting into the beard game. They've got their brand new beard trimmer, which is fantastic. So go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code BACONPOD, and that will give you 20% off and free shipping.
That's right. So don't forget to work on those testicles, your chesticles, and your cheeks. Keep them clean and ask yourself, what's your bacon?
The soundtrack, same art, the Japanese CD. I've been like just running down that rabbit hole. I finally got, so they have 2 VHSs. One of them is subtitle, one of them's overdub. I finally got the other one. I don't know which one I had. They're just 2 different colors. And this just a little different. So that's what I've been like really chasing. So I finally got that VHS. I literally, It's sitting in a warehouse in Japan. I'm just gonna put a package together and ship it over here. So that I'm excited about. As far as stuff that I want and I don't have, It's just the little stuff at this point. I need so Mexico, their quality control is terrible, right? So they made them for like 1 year in Mexico, or 2 maybe, and then they didn't sell well because the price point wasn't really affordable for Mexicans. It was so expensive that the normal household couldn't afford to buy these toys.
Right.
So they sat in a warehouse until 88, 89. 88, 89, when it was dying here, it was doing really well in Europe. It's like picking up. So Europe imported everything from Mexico as much as they could get, I guess. And Mexico was using lead paint. So like a lot of things got pulled out of boxes and like repainted and all these weird things. So like there's actually what people call like a murder eye Optimus Prime, because the yellow eyes, the yellow paint they used had lead in it. So they just took paint and painted red over it. So like what's crazy is, that's a variant, right?
Yeah.
It's obviously like, so it's the Mexican one, but someone in a factory painted over these eyes.
Right.
They're all different. None of them look the same.
Right.
So
it's all done by hand.
Right.
Yeah, because it's all done by hand. So they're all unique in their own little way. So I have like a bunch of those because they're just so different, right? But that being said, the quality control is bad enough that like certain parts, like certain blue parts were light blue, and then certain blue parts were dark blue. And obviously it was probably one factory, or they had parts from other factories or whatever. All these parts got mixed together. So like the blue parts, which is like Optimus Prime's head, inside here, the chrome, underneath all the chrome parts is blue plastic, and they just painted it chrome, like, it's chrome paint on the outside, basically is all it is. So like you can find primes that have all light blue parts or some light blue parts or whatever. So like I'm constantly looking for a nice conditioned one, because any ones that came out of the Mexico were played with, quality control was bad, so like paint didn't stay,
Right.
Chrome stuff rubbed right off or whatever. So I'm on this search right now to just have a good light blue Mexican made Optimus Prime.
Nice.
That's what I'm trying to do. And it's not
If anybody out there has one or no,
let somebody know. Let anybody know. Just find me. Find him. Find them.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely. So, dude, we've taken quite a bit of your time.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Really do
I like it.
appreciate you talking all these things with us and stuff. So, like, please, before we sign off here, let everybody know where they can find all the Suffocate Faster,
Yeah. Once again.
the new material, the old material, the socials, all those.
All right. Yeah. So you can find us on Instagram. Just search the old Suffocate Faster. You can find us on. We have a Facebook page as well, Suffocate Faster. You can find This Is the Way Volume 1 on Spotify and Apple and all your lovely streaming services. Volume 2 is coming out before the end of the year, so keep an eye out for that. We've also got a Bad Religion cover coming down the pike too in the next month or so. So yeah,
I love Bad Religion.
so yeah, just look out for the Suffocate Faster, boys. We're out there.
Awesome.
We out here.
Super awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
And
Thanks, boys.
One more time, I'll ask you. I asked you before, and I'll ask you again. I think it might be still the same thing. You had a pretty good grasp on it before, but once again, for the people that didn't listen to What's Your Bacon in 7 questions, just one more time for them, maybe. Tony, what's your bacon?
What's my bacon? So I don't. It's funny. Like you said, sometimes it changes, right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling the change. I'm really, honestly, I really enjoy doing podcasts. I really enjoy like doing this stuff and getting to talk to people. It's kind of like what, for me, like for traveling and touring, it's what I've taken away the most from. Obviously, it's fun to play music and get out there, but it is also nice to like meet people, to talk about stuff that you enjoy, that they enjoy, and just like the human aspect of just touring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's what the best part about collecting too is, meeting new collectors, talking about what they're passionate about, sharing your information, sharing what you know, and sharing your love. And so collecting is my bacon too.
Nice.
I think to encompass all of that,
Connection, man.
connection, community.
Community, yeah.
There's music is a community.
Yep.
The collecting end of it, it's a community. It's creating
Even
community.
that connection and that
Creating
that you have
your
with,
scene.
with podcasts or doing things and meeting people. It creates
Right.
the same kind of thing.
Even-
I'm glad that at the end of doing this podcast, you had a thought of, I like doing podcasts because it can always go the other way.
It can always go the other way.
Always go the other way.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate you guys. I had a really good time. Thank you so much for having
Cool.
me.
We appreciate it
course.
very much. And everybody that's listening, one more time, definitely go out and check out Suffocate Faster. Check out everything. If you do have a light blue Optimus Prime made in Mexico, please let us know. We'll let
us up,
Donnie know, and we'll
Yeah.
figure it out. We'll figure out a way to get that. We'll be on the lookout, too. And remember to ask yourselves every day that all-important question. That question, what is it that makes your life better? What is it that makes you excited to get up and excited to do things during the day? What is it that makes everything a little bit easier and, like we said before, a little bit gooder,
Yes.
Gooder.
right?
More gooder.
Do you remember what that question was?
He knows the question.
Which question is that?
The most important question to ask yourself every day that we just asked you.
What is your bacon, right?
Yes.
That's the one.
Yeah,
That's what
I
we're
got it.
looking
Here's the thing. I felt a quiz there, and when I felt confronted there, I was like, "Oh no, what are they saying to me?" No, it's great.
Awesome.
What is my bacon? I appreciate you guys and everything about this. This is a really good time. Thank you for having me,
Awesome.
and I hope you guys have all the success writing new songs together as well.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
it. Appreciate it, man.
Chris Towning is.
Fun to talk to.
I'm gonna just throw this out there. I think he might be a nominee for a BIMP.
I can see which one you thinking.
Maybe
You thinking bromance?
Maybe bromance.
Thinking bromance?
It may be bromance. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna have to like go through.
Yeah.
It's still a little early.
It's
You know,
still-
we've gotten
well,
till about November.
Bromance is tough, like sometimes. Like there's it's not always gonna be like a runaway like AJ. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
We're not
yes.
always just gonna like stars align.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's gonna be like, this is a solid dude that was
Yeah.
really great to talk to. I can't wait to talk to him more, like.
But that's what we got here.
Yeah. He'd be fun to get on with AJ, and because
Oh yeah,
we got to get like all the nerds on. Yeah. At some point.
yeah. Yeah, let's do. We're gonna. Yeah, when we're done with this
Do, like,
outro, we're gonna.
Big as my
talk about
podcast, nerd again and
nerd again. I like that. Nerdapalooza or something.
Nerdapalooza.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. Okay. We're gonna talk about that. That's
thoughts and things.
it's happening in my brain balls right now.
Yeah.
little things.
Massage the brain balls. Make sure the brain balls are shaven, shorn brain balls.
Well, don't shave your brain. Shave your balls.
Well, yeah, shave your balls.
Yeah.
But everybody says that our balls are attached to our brain anyway, right?
Sure.
So why not?
Yeah. Well, so we've had a great time here, Jimmy. How can they help the show?
Well, the best way to help the show, honestly, is to check out our Patreon. Mm-hmm. That's a super direct way that you can help the show. So if you're like, I love this show, I want to know more about these guys, I want to see some extra content, I want to join the community, I want to be part of the BIMP squad and like do all that kind of stuff.
Early episodes.
Yeah. Then jump over to
Ad-free.
Patreon, patreon.com/baconismypod, and check it out. Join
Yeah.
over there. There's many different tiers, different price points, very cheap. We didn't go crazy on any of that kind of stuff, but we do try and give as much as we can.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's probably the most direct, best way. But also, man, if you just like listen to the show, keep listening to the show. Give us some reviews. Share us with your friends. You can also jump over to baconismypodcast.com, and you could do something like grabbing one of our T-shirts,
yeah.
right? Including our Pride T-shirt.
Yes. That is actually. It's July now. Mm-hmm. But
that's okay. We're keeping it up.
we're still keeping it up.
We're keeping it up.
So.
Keeping it up, so check that out. Love is my bacon. Bacon is my podcast.
Yep.
Plus all of our other, we got cool shirts, man. We got cool stuff.
shirts.
So check them out over there. That's in the Bacon is my fashion section.
Yeah. But also just remember that it costs you literally nothing to
Leave a
share, like, or leave a review
Yeah.
or follow.
Yep.
It literally costs you nothing, and it helps us immensely.
Tremendously, just in getting heard by new people.
Right.
It's so hard to just get heard. Mm-hmm. Right?
I agree.
Whether we're putting out something that's good or not is up for debate, and I would love to have that debate.
Sure.
But We need more people to hear us to finally really, really have that debate.
Damn right.
You know?
All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, Jimmy, where can they find you, sir?
Find me at Jimmy G Shoes on all the socials. You can find out about me, about my band, and about my shoes. We got lots of shoes. My band, Craving Strange, is at cravingstrange.net. You can find out everything about all our socials and everything there, and always jump over to strangerhoodtv.com, which is the home YouTube channel for Bacon is
This
My
show.
Podcast, as well as videos by my band, as well as other shows by our buddies in the scene. We got the top 5, my top 5. We've got the top 20. All those things are happening. We've got some cool stuff from your band, Something Heavy. Where can they find that information?
That information is on the socials at Something Heavy Music. Check us out on all of the streaming platforms, Something Heavy. We have a new single out that's been out for a few weeks now. We dropped it as a surprise, unless you're a Bacon is My Podcast listener,
Right.
where I mentioned it every week leading up to it. It is called Just to Live Again, and thank you guys for listening to that. It's been a lot of cool.
And it is awesome. Share that around.
It's definitely a different song for us. You know, normally I'm trying to go heavier, but this is more of like a punky feel, and it's got a little bit of chant kind of thing.
I like when you go that direction.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of it. You
cool.
do it really well. You do that. I dig it.
Thanks, bud.
I dig it.
Thanks, bud. As far as me personally, you can find me at Me My Own Self Mike. You can find all the cool things that the podcast is doing, the band is doing, and fun family stuff. Real wholesome content,
Yeah.
if you will.
Indeed.
So until then, until the next episode,
Yeah.
please.
Which might come out tomorrow. Depends on when you're listening to this.
Right. Exactly.
Or could have come out yesterday.
Yeah. So get on it.
You should probably- maybe you're late.
Come on.
I don't know.
Always remember to ask yourself one super duper important question. Jimmy, what is that question?
What's your bacon?
Yes.
Well, peace.